Munchy Mafia. So, happy Valentine's Day. This is our pre-live prepping. And what we're going to do is we're going to take care of all these vegetables. Um, so we're making shrimp lo mein, and we are going to be putting in julienne carrots. These are shiitake mushrooms. We have some ginger, garlic, celery, bell pepper, peas. This is going to be for the garnish, and then we also have a white onion right here. So let's begin. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put everything into one big bowl so that we can keep everything as tidy as humanly possible, because we do have a whole lot of things. Now, with peas, you want to just make sure that you get the stringy thingies out. So we're just going to put those in the bowl. Those are already ready. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to take care of these other vegetables. Scoot that over so I can bring the cutting board over here. See what's going on now. This is a bell pepper. And what we're going to do is we're going to just take it and we're just going to slip it right in there like so. And then go around in a circle. And voila. We got all that out. Now I boo-booed. Okay, so that's okay. This time I remembered to bring spoons over to this area. Okay, so now we got our bell pepper. Get all the seeds out of there because we don't want those in there. They don't have any heat to them, so there's no reason to have them. So as you can see, that's all that's left of the bell pepper. And we don't want any of this white stuff in there, so we're just going to trim that off. Okay. That there, that's not tasty at all. What I like to do is just go in and just shave that stuff off there. Plus it makes it look prettier. It's easier to slice. We're also going to do these in juliennes. Okay, so next, let me tell you something about cutting slippery things. We don't want to ever do it this way. We want to flip it so that the meat side is up. That way your knife doesn't slip and cut you. One of the nice things about having all your vegetables cut in a uniform thickness is so that they cook more consistently. And with Asian knife cuts, it's a little bit different than French. And like I have said every single time, make sure that the knife blade touches that. You want to make sure that you have a claw, so like that. That way you don't cut a finger off. That's why chefs have bad fingers and hands, do a lot of knife stuff, and sometimes we do this all day long. Next thing you know, we're developing trigger finger, and the only solution of that is to stick this chemical into the area where it's frozen, and it's supposed to help break away all that garbage, but it's extremely painful. It takes forever for it to heal. It looks horrible as it's healing, and yeah, so always stretch your hands in between tasks so that you can keep your fingers working and your wrists especially working a lot better without getting carpal tunnel syndrome and whatnot. Now, celery always has these really goofy little fibers in there. And what I like to do is I like to take a peeler. This one's made by Titan. There's my Hello Kitty tape. I like to just hook it in there and just peel it just like I would a carrot, and that way all the or a majority of the strings comes off, and it makes it a little bit more pleasant to eat. Because who likes to floss while they're eating their food, right? And I'm just making enough for the two of us because there's only two of us in the household, unless you count, the two parrots and the three cats and the puppy and the fish tank. But we are eating seafood, so I guess we could count the fish. So I got 9 fish. Okay, so there's that. So here's our celery. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do what's known as a bias cut. So we're going to turn the knife just a little bit. Now these take forever to cook, so you want to go as thin as you possibly can. See how nice and pretty that is? And we're just going to go through all this. So I hope everybody is having a wonderful Valentine's today. And if you're spending it by yourself, there's absolutely no reason at all why you can't show yourself some self-love. And when I say self-love, I don't mean, going to the bathroom with a bottle of Jergens and, doing that sort of thing. I mean, treat yourself to something. Even if it means going through a drive-thru at your favorite restaurant, your favorite fast food place, or hitting up something, do an anti-Valentine's Day. You can take a break. A friend of mine and I used to do that. Both of us were single, and we would have an anti-Valentine's Day, and we'd go together as a platonic date. And we would go to one of my favorite restaurants in Seattle. It's called 13 Coins. And we would go late at night. After all the lovebirds are done, we'd sit at the counter and watch the chefs cook. And that was a lot of fun. Used to love that. Used to be a spot where my former husband Scott and I used to go to when we were first dating. And then we moved in to a condo just around the corner from there. And the kids were young, and Scott and I got married and broke up, and then got married again. Or not married again, but we got back together again, and then ended up getting a divorce about 7 years later. He passed away a few years ago. He was a baker. Okay, so it's a round object. So to keep it from wobbling, you just slice off the bottom piece, or one slice, one side. And we're going to do a julienne, so this is known as planks. And we're going to go fairly thin on that. We can still use that piece. So if the carrot is kind of curved, just kind of, cut it in half and then just do your planks again. Now I'm not going to do long match sticks. I'm going to do them fairly short because, to be honest, I really don't like carrots much. It's not that I hate them, it's just that I really hate raw ones. I hate the taste of them. They just have this weird taste that I just don't like. They're so off-putting. But I love carrot cake. I think that's blatantly obvious. I love cake. So uniformity is always key because carrot is a pretty hard root vegetable, so sometimes they have a tendency to take forever in a day. That's kind of wonky, so we're just going to throw that out. Anyway, I don't remember what I was saying. I don't remember where I was going. Oh, it takes a little longer to cook. Also, celery does too. But we're not cooking them all the way to soft. We are stir frying. I've got my wok, and unfortunately I have an electric stove, so that's never any kind of fun. So here we go. This is about the size that I want them. And they're still thin, but they still have character. They're not dice. Uh, Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see some knife skills added to videos. I'd be more than happy to go through all the different knife cuts, except for the tournée. I hate the tournée. That one actually gives me PTSD. Can never do that one properly. I always end up with 8 sides instead of 7 sides. Okay, so this is going pretty fast though. So you see we've got lots of color going on right here. And now we're going to just go in. We're going to take care of the carrots as well, or the rest of the carrots, I mean. Seems like a lot of carrots, but I like stir-fried carrots. Just don't like raw. Has a weird taste. I think that's what I was talking about and got sidetracked. Sorry about that. So I got lots of news coming up, lots of cool things happening in my world, and I'll be sharing some of that with you all today on the live. So I hope that you'll be able to stop by and watch. Got lots to talk about. Still trying to figure out what story time's going to be today. And I'm sure that story time's going to be fast. So, yeah, we're almost done with the carrots. And it's okay if you screw up a little bit, make one a little wider. It's not like you're going to be presenting it to Gordon Ramsay. Or Gordon Ramsay would probably be like, your donut. Always make it so that if you were going to present it to a Michelin star chef, it's like, whatever, dude. Like you're going to come out in the middle of frickin' nowhere and come taste food. You know? I really like Chef Ramsay. He's an interesting character. I would love to go spend a day in the kitchen with him. Except for I think that our personalities are going to clash. Because even though I seem a little bit sedate, I could let loose pretty bad. That's a bad thing. I've only been doing this for 36 years. Maybe longer than that, because there seems to be a question as to what my actual real age is presently. It's kind of a funny story. I'm like, what the hell? I'm not that old. Maybe I am that old. I don't know. I know. It's the Y2K. I don't know if you were alive back then, but back then there was a thing about how computers were all going to crash and nothing was going to work. And a friend was a conspiracy theorist, and he was so afraid that this whole Y2K thing was going to create a huge problem for the banking system. So he withdrew all of his money, and he made a pretty good amount of money for what he did. But he wanted to put in a freaking bomb shelter in his backyard and put everything on solar power and stock up on 15 years worth of non-perishable foods. The kind, the ones that are like one step below MREs. Not that MREs are any good, but so anyway, that's what he wanted to do. Then he just disappeared one day. It's like, I've seen him again. Very good friend of mine. Okay, so these are shiitake mushrooms. I like to take the stems off. Usually what I do with the stems is I'll put them into a baggie with all my other vegetables that I'm going to use for vegetable stock. I'll just pitch it in the freezer until I'm getting ready to use it, but I'm not making any stock anytime soon. I just love the taste of shiitake mushrooms. What's probably going to occur is I'm probably going to end up giving Timmy a whole bunch of my shrimp in exchange for his mushrooms because he doesn't really like these mushrooms. But I do, so it is what it is. So, and the reason why I take these off is because I just don't like the woody texture. It's kind of off-putting a little bit. So, yeah, pretty cold here in Washington State today. We had almost t-shirt weather a few days ago, and now it seems like we're back sliding into winter weather. Okay, so with mushrooms, this is a kind of a spongy side, and it's also a little on the slippery side. So we flip it so the gills are facing upward. We're just gonna give these a slice. And they don't have to be perfect. You could also leave them whole if you want. It's up to you whether or not you want to keep your stems. I just don't like cooking with them. Sometimes I'll bite into one and it's like just chewy and chewy and chewy. It's like, yeah, I want the nice meaty cap of the mushroom. But you can leave them whole. There's also a lot of other different kinds of mushrooms that are used in Asian cooking. The gnocchi, long, skinny white ones, and maitakes. You can even use oyster if you want, oyster mushrooms. Those are really nice because they're very delicate. Or just white button mushrooms, which really has no real flavor to them. So it's up to you. Of course, some people just don't like mushrooms at all. You don't have to put them in there. I'm not forcing you. It's your dinner, so you do with it as you please. Now, as far as lo mein is concerned, you could put other vegetables in there if you want, whatever vegetable you like. Bitter melon, eggplant, squashes, green beans, broccoli. It's just I like to keep it simple, just like that. Now we got our onion. Cut the top off. Cut enough of the bottom off so that the core is gone. That's pretty good. Throw that out. And again, these, well, except for this piece, you have to cut the root part off. Those can go in just like that with the papers right into your stockpile. So if you're planning on making something, even if you're doing a roasted chicken, you can always take the bones of your roasted chicken and throw them into the pot with all your vegetables. Okay, so here's the top and bottom. Top, bottom. We're going to actually flip it sideways so that we're going to be julienning this. I want this to be fairly thin. So we're just going to do that. Just like so. Over. Oh, put that also in the bowl. Oh man, my hands are going to stink later. Okay, so I like a lot of onions. It's up to you. You like a lot of onions or no onions. Like I said, however way you want to make yours, just do it. Don't have to do what I'm doing. Some people like bitter melon. Some people don't like bitter melon. Some people like eggplant. Others don't. Well, say you got a whole bunch of asparagus. Dig through your fridge. Find vegetables that you would normally find in a stir fry, and do it. Okay, so easiest way to do ginger is to take a spoon and to just peel peel it all off. Now you're going to find a lot of little leggies on it. Sometimes it's just better to, when you need to save time, just slice that shit off like so. In restaurants, we just slice it off and just pitch the garlic into the stock pile, and we're doing like a carrot soup or something like that, or we're gonna need a stock for that broth. We'll use that. See that there? Just cut it off. So ginger is a lot like a celery in that there's a lot of fibers in it, and they get a little hairy. I don't know if you can see the hairs right there, right here. Do. Beaker. So what you want to do is you want to take it and you're going to want to slice it. This is going to help to break up those fibers so you don't end up with a mouthful of fuzz. So this is planks. Now we're just going to go along and we're just going to rough chop it. At least this way it's manageable. Okay, so that's all we're going to really need. That's like a tablespoon. You can even do it even smaller if you want. But even if you're like putting it into a food processor or a blender, you still want to chop it up. That way you don't end up with long fibrous hairs in your mouth. Okay, so garlic is going to be next. We're going to set that aside. Garlic, we don't want the ends there, so we're just going to chop that off on all of them. I'm not sure if I have enough garlic here. There's two more over there. Ta-da! Okay, just chop that off. And we're just going to give it a rough slice. You don't want to. One. Where'd it go? There it is. Just a rough slice this way. This, I don't want it all chopped up. I like to have nice chunks. So this, I think I counted like 7 or 8. You can do more. You can do less. You can do none at all if you want. Up to you. Like I said, it's your food. Best practice is to do it your way. Use your creativity. I'm giving you the basics here. Okay. I like canned whole baby corn. I don't know why, but I do. I like these a lot. So these, because they're quite big. And what's really funny is you get the whole ones, and they're actually $1 cheaper than the ones that are already cut. But I don't like the way that they're cut. I like to do them just a little bit differently. I'll show you as soon as I get it all out of the can. Okay, out of the can. Now instead of slicing them in the big chunks, I like to go lengthwise, just like so. We're going to actually add that toward the end. Yeah, lengthwise in half. See how they have nice length to them? It's just a preference of mine. I mean, if you want to get the chunks, you can, or not put them all, or put them in there at all if you don't want. It's up to you. And then the last thing that we have is the garnish, which is the green onion. There's a special way to do it. Now, you always want to make sure that you have a sharp knife. A sharp knife is needed for that, so that you don't bruise the green. Okay, so there's that. See how nice and long that is? It gives it a little bit of contrast. Let's move So I'm probably not going to do all of these. Now, I don't like to use all of the whites, so we're just going to slice that off. Okay, so let's pick a couple at a time. Got a little curly Q here. Let's just pull that off and stick it down here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do what's known as a bias cut, or also in French terminology it's sifflet. Not souffle, but sifflet. S-I-F-F-L-E-T, known as the whistle cut. You can do your bias any way you want, as big as you want, as small as you want, but you see those are nice and pretty. They always look nice. And if you're doing a whole bunch of green onions for use through the week, put it into a container with some ice water. They have a tendency to stay fresher longer, about 3 days, 4 days, before they start to look a little goofy. I think I need to sharpen my knife a little bit. They're kind of dragging a little. Okay, so there's that. See? That nice, pretty souffle cut. Souffle, not souffle. All right, go. All right, that's pretty much all we have for now. That's how we get a live started. All the prep work that we do beforehand is what you see there, aside from all the other stuff that I have to actually demonstrate. So here's all the vegetables, just like so. And it'll have a little color to that. Carrots look nice. Red bell pepper looks nice. Celery looks nice. All right. So I will see you soon. Bye, Munchie Mafia.